Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you guys are watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're here. Take a quick second to thank all my channel members. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And another quick second to ask you guys if you've been by or you're new and you haven't had a chance, please hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon. It would help me out greatly, and it'll also notify you when I release new content. Today's content is based around a knife I purchased a couple of weeks ago, about 2.5 weeks ago, and this is the CJRB Ekko. Not anything fancy, one I picked up from Amazon. It is the Micarta variant and the ARPM 9 blade steel. I want to say this guy was right in the mid 60s, upper 60s. It's a button lock, just like the Pyrite. It's also a front flipper. So you've got a front flipper. You've got this RPM sheep's foot kind of blade with a nice, nice sheep's foot blade there. You've got a little wider handle than you do, in my opinion, on the Pyrite. And we'll look at it here in a second. You don't have a designated choke up place, but you do have this trigger area, what I would call the trigger area here. It might make some people uncomfortable to be that close to the sharpening choil, but to me, I'm more comfortable there with that blade control than I am back here. Personal preference, and you guys do what makes you comfortable. But what you'll notice about this knife is, it's a value-minded knife based on what it is. A button lock with micarta with good steel for under $70. It also has what I call slab micarta scales, where you don't have any contouring. You've got these full steel liners. They're not nested. You do have some jimping here on the blade. You do have a little swedge treatment here on the blade. You've got this nice stone washing on the blade. Again, this is a Ray Laconico design, which I'm sure drives just a little bit of that profit margin or that pricing up, because Ray's got to get part of it, I'm sure. I would want part of it. And then a deep carry clip, little stainless steel clip here. But to talk about this knife, it's very similar in my experience, and this one's not as broken in as my Pyrite with thumb studs. Again, thumb studs, you're getting on a button lock that for me has very little detent. You're kind of getting more push than I get out of a hole. And I know that doesn't really make sense, but for me, it's just the detents feel very similar on these two knives. I think what makes, in my opinion, this one feel lazier is maybe because it's the front flipper, maybe because of the blade geometry and size, but I think it has to do with the momentum I'm getting off that finger hole as opposed to the momentum I get going from a thumb stud, right? So it is, I would say, a medium-sized knife, or not really even small, so I can get a full 4-finger grip right there in the middle of the handle with room to spare, 1/4 inch in the front, 1/4 to a 1/2 inch in the back. So I've got plenty of room to hold on this knife. It's pretty thin. Let's do a couple of quick size comparisons just to see other knives and how they're going to match up to it. Now, we won't look at our crazy cold steel and our Civivi. Let's just look at it next to a Benchmade bug out. It's a little longer than a Benchmade bug out. Spyderco Paramilitary 2, because I don't have Paramilitary 3s. They didn't work in my hand. It's going to be much smaller than the Spyderco Paramilitary 3. Now let's look at it next to the CJRB Pyrite in titanium. Just a little bit shorter than the Pyrite, about a 1/2 inch. Let's look at it next to the Vostede Raccoon. Right around the size of the Vostede Raccoon. Another button lock, 2 other button locks. And lastly, for those of you who might have the Miguron Moirel, if you don't, rush and buy it. It's under $50. The best knife in that price range case closed. In my opinion, I can't think of a better knife for under $50 than the Micarta Moirel. And this is it next to the Vostede Corsair. So you can tell that the Ekko comes in smaller than both those knives, a little bit larger than the Pyrite. But those of you that have a Pyrite, one thing I noticed is you do have a thicker handle on the Ekko. You've also got a little bit more blade. And then if you look at the geometry of the blade, the Ekko is already set up to cut, whether it's utility cuts, whether it's slicing cuts, whether it's reverse cuts. The CJRB Pyrite is too. I really like this choil a little better, but I kind of fake this as my choil. So even though this might feel more comfortable to me, it might not feel comfortable to somebody with a larger hand on the Pyrite. But if I stay on this trigger and I know I'm on this micarta, I'm still plenty of room clearing from that sharpening choil to where I feel really comfortable with it. But I have not tried the spine whack test on this yet. I guess as part of any plunge lock test, we should see if we can bounce it. I don't know why we do that. But I can report that the CJRB Ekko, like the CJRB Pyrite, does not have, or any apparent from that spine whacking that you guys just witnessed, any lock fail issues. So let's do a couple of quick dimensions, and I will let you guys get on with your day, your afternoon, or your evening. It's 7.5 inches long, which gives you a 3 1/4 inch blade. It also gives you a 4 1/4 inch handle. The grip area that I was talking about that I utilize is this 4 inches from here to here. So that's a 4-inch span. I do feel that pocket clip. I wouldn't call it a hot spot only because I have not spent a ton of time running it through cardboard, but I can assure you it would eventually become a hot spot. Just depends on how you grab it. Again, I feel it, but I can only imagine after, a couple of 100 feet of cardboard, you might be a little bit fatigued if you didn't have a glove on. So let's take a couple of quick blade measurements here. Let's see if I can work my little calipers. .1085, and it's got really good slicing geometry. We'll slice some paper here in just a second. It looks like .015 behind the edge, and then the handle is going to be less than half an inch, I'm thinking, at .4275, and that's according to the Mitoyoto calipers that I picked up. So let's get some paper. Very thin paper from the Smoky Mountain catalog. Whoops, bad cut. This is Cutter Air, guys. The way that I'm actually attacking this material is less than desirable. This has cut. I've not stropped it. I've not put it back on a stone. I've just run it through some wood. When I say wood, these little sticks that I carve on. I need to film that sometime. And then I've got my paper cutting habit, and then I will sit around and break down Amazon boxes. I haven't been going breaking down the big lots of Amazon boxes, but I do break the ones down that come to my house, and that can be quite a few from time to time. But yeah, it's very, very slicey. As a matter of fact, I feel like that didn't do it justice. I feel like I failed it. Let's see if I can. My magazine's hanging on to staples. What a pain in the ass. Sorry, guys. Try to get a piece of paper. Turns into a big cow fuck. Yeah, I knew I wasn't going to be able to cut it after that. I will not let this become a 20-minute struggle bus video with me trying to cut paper with this CJRB Ekko. Because it does cut paper, it's just that I've got folded paper. I just took staples out of it. I don't have much dexterity under the camera. But yeah, very slicey knife. I've been pleased with it. In that value range under $100, which is kind of how I put those knives. And I'll give special consideration when I'm doing my best of the best for 2023 when I look at a knife that right now is sitting squarely at the sub $100 winter range. And this Miguron Moirel is $48.65, 14C 28N liner lock. Guys, this is a great knife, the CJRB Ekko. I'm not taking anything away from it. It's review, it's long-term overview, and I can absolutely recommend it for what it is. If it fits your style, if it fits the blade shape, if you've liked the knife, if you like the look of it, if you wondered if it was a little bit larger than the Pyrite and you were trying to decide if you should get this or the Pyrite, if it were me, the Pyrite's probably a more EDC, just nice and neutral knife, kind of like a bug out. The Ekko does have this palm swell and this nice sheep's foot blade, which I personally prefer, but you might prefer different. I can tell you both of these knives are fantastic. I can also tell you that the Miguron Moirel, just to give you a little preview of my tops, is hard to beat. I'm a big fan of the Vosteed Raccoon. There's no coincidence why these knives were out for size comparisons, because I was just trying to get some thoughts together. And guys, I don't know if you tried this yet, but the Miguron, or excuse me, the Vosteed Corsair is a little banger too. So that is the CJRB Ekko. I'm stoked you guys came by to watch the review. I hope I wasn't too wordy, but I appreciate you more than you know. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you if you've been so inclined and you subscribe and hit that bell notification. And thank you for looking out for the guy or gal to your left. Thank you for looking out for the guy or gal to your right. Thank you for looking out for one another. Go forward with love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.